Welcome Virgo to your December 2019 reading. I'm Jenny Florence. Guys, welcome back to anyone who's already following my readings, and if you are part of this amazing community, thank you so much. I am utterly blown away by your comments, your shares, your likes, but most of all by the sharing of your own journeys in your comments. Guys, you are just inspirational. The way you support each other, the way you share your own struggles and how you come through those, holding the light. So really amazing, guys. You are awesome. Anyone who is new to this channel, to this community, welcome. This is a December 2019 reading. If you haven't already checked them out, do check out the big 2020 readings. They are all uploaded and they're in a playlist. I don't have many playlists, so you should be able to find them quite easily. Also, for anyone that's new to my channel, I do put a lot of free resources into the world. Everything is detailed in the information box, so do check that out. That includes an opportunity to win a free private reading with me. I'm going to be doing a couple of extra ones actually in the build up to Christmas. Usually I offer one a month to one of my subscribers, but I'm doing a bit of a Christmas giveaway, and also for the first week of December I'm actually going to be giving away 10 copies of my new diary, The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary. I won't speak too much about it because I'll tack a little video on at the end of the reading for anyone that's interested in that. So guys, we are going to be drawing runes first of all, and I was drawn to the energy of amethyst. I have a natural piece of amethyst, a crystal here. I have an amethyst wand and an amethyst heart. There's a really penetrating energy around them actually. It's quite interesting. It's gentle, but it's kind of, I want to say, persistent. That's really the word that I'm feeling, persistent. So it'll be interesting to see how the reading pans out. But I'm getting a flavour of consistent persistentness. That's what's kind of around. So let's draw some runes. Okay, our first rune. We have the rune of constraint. Now this rune sometimes speaks of things not moving forwards maybe as fast as we'd like them to. It sometimes heralds a time when we are requested to sort of take it easy. It's not that we're not moving forwards, but it's not always the right time to plough forwards at speed. You know how sometimes you get a burst of energy and it's go, go, go. This isn't like that. There's a sort of saying that comes with this rune: when fishermen can't go to sea, they mend their nets. It doesn't mean that we're idle or that we're doing nothing. It means that we're biding our time, taking care of the details. We're in a space of preparation. This rune also sometimes speaks of the kinds of obstacles that we can create for ourselves. It could be a thinking pattern or a behaviour pattern, or if we procrastinate a lot, that kind of stuff, anything that we do, and also obstacles that sometimes come in from the outside. If it's coming in from the outside, what I'm hearing is there's a reason for the delay, and you are being asked to, mend your nets, get your house in order, get the foundation right before you build. If it's an obstacle that you've created for yourself, if there's something that's being blocked from within, there's an opportunity to look at that and to actually work out what to do to remove that obstacle. So, interesting energy. Let's draw more. Our second rune is the rune of defence. Now this is interesting, connecting into sort of obstacles, because this sort of rune suggests that it's almost like we develop an aversion to anything that causes us stress. It's actually a really healthy rune. For me, it's like if I was going to give it a different name, it would be boundaries. This rune speaks of boundaries. It means that we start to, it's not that we become less tolerant as such, it's just that we notice things that don't work for us. And as such, it allows us to, again, if you're you know, if you're not going to sea and you're mending nets, then the mending of the nets here is to notice the things that aren't working for you and make conscious choices to course correct in some way, whether it's internally or externally. So it's kind of actually got this, really connects into the energy of amethyst, that sort of penetrating, consistent persistentness, actually. There's a steadiness, there's a meticulousness is what I want to say, which is kind of really good for you guys. I mean, Virgos, you like that. You're really good at it. You like the detail. You're good at the detail. Be careful not to overdo it, and I think there's always a danger if we're into the detail that we can become a little bit addicted to perfection. On the other hand, being somebody who sort of aspires for perfection, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I know that I am. I know that with myself, I have to know when to stop. It's really, really good because it gives me an opportunity to attend to the detail. It means that I sit down and I really kind of, if I'm editing something, I will get into the details of the editing and with a determination to do it really well. But there is a point when I know that I can just be reworking it to the point where I've almost lost the plot. So I have to sort of keep myself in check. And that's the kind of energy that's around here, actually, interestingly enough. Okay, we then have the rune of opening, fire, torch. This is lovely, powerful energy, renewed clarity, clear intent, out of the fog, yeah, out of darkness into light. It's lovely. It's an opening. It's like you see clearly. So even if at the beginning of December, if these runes are taking us through the energy of the month, even if at the beginning you're feeling as though you're having to attend to the details, trust that that is really beneficial, whether the details are internal or external or a mixture of both. Openings are coming, clear intentions, renewed clarity, clear direction is coming your way. Certainly the energy to move forwards. And we have the blank rune. I thought it was. It's a slightly square one. So whenever it comes out, I almost question, although there are a couple of others that they are really similar. The blank rune, it also has a very particular energy about it. I love this rune. This is the rune of possibility. It means that you are in this space of, I want to say pregnancy, not necessarily literally. I mean, I guess it could be for some of you, but it's more a space of you're getting ready to birth something into the world, or to birth yourself into a new phase of being, a new aspect of you, a new chapter of you in some way, or maybe you're shedding a skin and stepping up into a bigger, more expanded, more conscious version of you. But that is what this rune is symbolizing, and I can really see the flow of energy that is, interestingly enough, taking you into this space of the new year, where, of course, a new year is always a time when we traditionally, I'm going to say, set our intentions. We set New Year resolutions often, but a resolution, if you think about it, is an intention. It's an intention to course correct often. But one way or the other, this is the rune of possibility. It speaks of endings, it speaks of beginnings. It's kind of both all at once. It speaks of fate, of destiny. It sometimes says that for some people it can indicate a little bit of a wobble, because it means that you're stepping into a space of uncertainty. You know, when we course correct, we have to pause and make a decision as to which way we're going. Though if I'm honest, that doesn't really have the energy of uncertainty around it. I think you guys find that clarity. This rune is indicating openings, renewed clarity, clear intent, out of the fog. It's almost as though you attend to the details and clarity comes, and then you step into this space of renewed possibility where you initiate new beginnings. Now, I find myself being quite mindful of the astrology, and we have a new moon eclipse on the 26th of December, that's Boxing Day, in Capricorn. It's very much an energy of potential doing, of being able to hold our intentions and also initiate the first steps. It's like sowing those first seeds. So pretty powerful new moon eclipse. And around the eclipses, stuff happens sometimes very quickly. Things happen suddenly. So yeah, really tune into anything unexpected as an opportunity. That's the kind of message that I'm hearing for you guys. Everything appears to me to be moving forwards. That's the energy of the amethyst. Gaining spiritual awareness, heightening intuition, psychic abilities, connecting into yourselves at a level of soul. Can also alleviate stress, particularly at times of transition. Feels for me as though this is a month of moving forwards. It's just that it might not feel like it at the beginning of the month. But I think that's simply because there are details that need to be attended to. But in terms of the, that energy of when fishermen can't go to sea, they mend their nets. I'm going to say trust that if you mend your nets really, really well, openings, avenues are coming with huge energy of new possibility. So quite exciting. That's what I'm actually feeling. It does feel very exciting, as if it can feel like a steady start, but I feel like the pace is going to quicken, if I'm honest. That's really what's coming through here. So I'm going to draw from one of my oldest tarot pack cards, the oldest one actually, my very first pack. And for those of you that some people have been commenting and asking about which cards I use, there is a page on my website, the link is in the information box, where every single pack of cards that I ever use is there with photos, so you can identify them and find them really easily if you're wanting to access them for yourselves, and the runes as well. Okay guys, Ten of Swords. This is a card of victory. You come through something, whatever conflict. I say conflict because, for some of you it could be a conflict. But I think for some of you it's not a conflict, it's more that you've kind of been bogged down in something in some way. It feels like there's been a lot of details that you've had to attend to. Going back to the rune of constraint, sometimes it's the obstacles we create for ourselves. Sometimes it's like obstacles coming in. And actually the message I'm hearing is, I think for some of you, it has just felt like no sooner than you think you're taking a step forward, something else crops up and you're having to deal with that. And then you take another step forward and something else crops up. And you're having to feels like a continual stream of things that you're having to attend to. That's kind of what's been going on. But you come through it, you attend to the details. And I want to say, guys, you do it well. That's what I'm really hearing. And also, there's opportunity, I think, for some of you along the way. As things have arisen, you've attended to something within yourselves simultaneously, almost as if an outside circumstance has triggered not just the attention to something externally, but it's caused you to reflect internally and consolidate something of yourselves. You've moved through something, and it's a big position of growth. This is lovely. You're coming out the other side. We then have the Six of Wands. This is a card of victory. And these are two cards of victory, so it's lovely. This is kind of like dealing with any of our inner demons. It's the things that we ourselves have to do. It's interesting because this rune of defense, it says we are doers as well as deciders. We're both. In terms of manifestation, we need to set intentions, hold clarity of thought. We have to also take action. That the universe might open a doorway for us, but we have to walk through it. And so this sort of, for me, is a card that is connecting in with this. It's like we attend to both the internal stuff and the outside stuff too. We deal with the internal demons and we take actions in real terms. So I think there's been a lot of work going on for you guys, I'm going to say. To be fair, every Virgo I know has been going through massive changes, all of which have been consolidating a much stronger sense of personal self, that sense of choosing their pathway, choosing to walk a pathway that aligns and resonates well for them. But there've been big steps that they've had to take to be able to make that possible. So very powerful time of transition and growth through, 2019. We're approaching the end of the year. New possibilities, new horizons, new beginnings. Six of Wands is it's like public recognition. Okay, for some of you it could be very big public recognition. For others it will just be recognition and acknowledgement from those around you. But it is outside recognition. It's a victory and a victory. So wonderful cards. Whatever you guys have been working at in your own unique individual ways, it kind of comes to a head. And I would say the beginning of the month would suggest, the energy of the runes would suggest you're still attending to the residue of some of those things. But as you're kind of ticking those boxes off, success is coming in terms of, you're coming through this, renewed clarity, victory, and it is seen by others. So there's a recognition. I think things start to move forwards. Lovely shift of energy, I'm going to say. And we have the Fool. Wonderful card, new beginnings. Sometimes it involves taking a risk. We have to step into the unknown. Here we have this wonderful blank rune. But, if we don't step forwards, we will live forever wondering what would have done if we hadn't. And I think for you guys, the urge to step forward into some space of new beginning is very powerful, very, very powerful. And also you have worked for this. It's quite interesting though, what I'm really hearing, it's kind of got this flavour of, when we work so hard to initiate things and we put all of these things in place and we're really involved in the work, and suddenly we reach this point where it's like, wow, we're here, we've actually got to do it. And suddenly it's this moment of both excitement, anxiety. It's like, wow, I'm here, I've done all this work, I wanted to get to here, and oh my goodness me, I'm here. And now it's like this new beginning, and oh, it's unknown. It's got that flavour. It's exciting. I'm kind of tingling with excitement, and it's quite a full over physical thing. It's like all over my body. So it's a really interesting energy, but it's like this surge of energy to move forwards, and then this, almost like a gasp of breath. It's like, wow, I got here. Now what do I do? Oh my goodness me, I committed, and now I'm here. But really so much excitement with it as well. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. Things are changing, things are shifting. Again, this so connects into the blank rune. Very, very powerful times, guys, as we head for this new year. Big shifting turning point, a pivotal turning point, I would say, for you guys. That's what the energy feels like. So I'm going to draw from a second tarot pack now. Again, really old favourites. Oh, look at the energy of this. This is lovely. This is a card of harvest. But it's very, very interesting because this is a card that says, I will just pick it up, having shown it to you, and put it down. I'll show it to you again. This is a card of harvest, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a sort of slight weariness around it. There's a tiredness. Basically, this knight has come a long way, and he has worked very, very hard. It's a bit like a farmer who sows his seeds. To get to harvest point, you have to do a lot of work. You've got to till the soil, prepare the ground, you sow the seeds, you water them, you nurture them, you weed them, you tend them. You finally get to harvest time, and you're kind of tired because you've put in so much work. But actually harvest time requires another surge of energy to bring the harvest in. I want to say, guys, it's actually going to sit here. Definitely going to be sitting here. But there is this victory, this recognition, this public acknowledgement, whether that is friends, family, people around you, or in a more public way if you've started a venture, something becomes, it's kind of like it does start to birth into the world. New possibilities. It's not reached its final stage, but it is birthing into the world. It is full of new possibilities, full of excitement. It can feel like a risk, but I feel like you kind of know you need to follow it. So you're in this space of perhaps feeling like you've done a lot of work to get to here, and without question you have. But it's time to bring that harvest in. It's time to initiate and put into place. It's time to be doing, in terms of pulling all the things together that you've been putting in place. We then have the card of the Lovers. Now this card speaks of relationships of higher consciousness, relationships of awareness. Now, for some of you guys, if you've been working within a relationship, finding yourself within a relationship, I think you reach a space where this relationship shifts a gear. It's like you move forwards in some way. If you've been working at a work venture, if you have been working in a particular job, you've been moving towards a promotion or something, I think that comes through. If you've been building something, whatever you've been manifesting, you've done the work and it starts to emerge. This may also mean a connection to your relationship with yourself. It's like it's opening up again, higher levels, back to the amethyst, higher levels of intuition, higher levels of psychic ability, being able to navigate life with higher levels of consciousness, spiritual awareness. I'm going to say this is across the board. That level of awareness is reaching into all aspects of your lives, which is why we have this blank rune, the Fool and the Wheel of Fortune. New possibilities. When we reach a space of a higher level of consciousness within ourselves, everything that we do starts to take on a different flavour. And the more that we invest in life in that way, in all aspects of our lives, the more the universe starts to deliver and to align with that new resonance. This is wonderful, guys. So I'm going to get a bit ecstatic about this, but the Queen of Swords, she is a magical energy. This is not gender orientated either, although she's a she in this card. The Queen of Swords, she no longer has to wear the masks that she has been wearing. Basically, it's almost as though she's reached a space where she is able to truly be herself. If she chooses to wear a mask, it's because she chooses to. She's not on autopilot anymore. This card means that we no longer have to fulfill the roles that we were brought up believing that we had to fulfill. We can be ourselves. There's a freedom, a liberation here. And with that liberation and that level of awareness, we almost refine something of what I would call a childlike innocence. And yet at the same time, that childlike curiosity, desire to discover, the energy of the Fool, that returns to us, but we have the wisdom of the adult lives that we've been leading. We have the wisdom of the adult lives that we have been learning from. It's like our journey, our pathway, everything that got us to here. We have the wisdom and we rediscover some vitality in connection to kind of starting some aspect, some new chapter of life. This is very lovely, or indeed moving into a new phase of life. We have the card of change. Again, very lovely energy, particularly in relationships. It means we retain our autonomy. Back to higher levels of consciousness in relationships. It means we can, again, we don't have to wear a hat. We don't have to be what someone expects us to be. This is kind of all about walking to the beat of your own drum. It doesn't matter what area of life this is applying. Obviously, it's a big reading. It's a generic reading for lots of people. And your pathways are unique and individual to you all. But the energy, the flavour of the energy here is that you have done this work internally. You've really been attending to, as I said, for me it feels like one thing after another. You just think you're moving forwards, something else crops up. You just think you're moving forwards, another thing shows up. But actually you've really persistently and consistently kind of taken those steps forwards with everything that's come your way. This is a time of victory, it's a time of consolidation, it's a time of renewed clarity, and it is a pivotal shift in the energy in terms of anything that you have been initiating, your own personal growth, and how that manifests in the reality of your world. And particularly in relationships, you get to it is all about walking to the beat of your own drum. Almost might call the reading that. I'm not sure yet. I always debate when I get to the end of a recording as to what to actually call it. So guys, I'm now going to draw from the Art of Manifestation cards. We have the card of difficult emotions. I'm going to place that here. This card asks you to listen to your emotions. Every emotion we have is necessary and important to us, even the challenging ones. Difficult feelings are letting you know that something is not okay. Learn to understand and love your emotions and discover how they serve you. Absolutely. I think the things that have been surfacing have actually been quite highly emotionally charged. That's what I'm hearing. And also, not only that, but I think for some of you guys, stepping into this space of new, you've worked so hard to get to where you are, and it's this, as I said, there's so much excitement, but it's also, oh my goodness me, I'm here. This is such a big launch into the unknown. Dare I take it? It's got that sort of flavour about it. Listen to your emotions. You know, anxiety and excitement kind of come from the same source. When we enter something new, it's appropriate to feel a little bit, I won't say on edge, but to be on a higher alert. It makes us more conscious, more aware of the fact that we're stepping into something new. We don't know how it's going to be. But, you know, excitement and anxiety, you know, they can intermingle. And it's really important if we are stepping into a new phase, especially if we've worked really hard to get here, that we don't let the anxiety overrule the excitement. You know, so really, if any of you are struggling at all with emotions, do check in with my free library. It's a completely free resource, and you might also want to check in with the book Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. I take all of our most challenging emotions, including fear and anxiety, and talk about why we need them and how to shift their energy so that they work for you. I will also actually, in my big giveaway, be giving away at some point in the build up to Christmas, so guys, watch out for those announcements. I will be not just giving away copies of my new diary, but other books as well, and during 1 week I will be giving away 10 copies of that book, so watch this space. Obviously it's I'll be drawing names out of a hat from my subscriber list, but yeah guys, watch out for those announcements. Worth the wait. This is lovely. This is the when fishermen can't go to sea, they mend their nets. And this is also around actually for that. You may also be feeling some frustration if it feels as though things aren't moving forwards. And we can get a little bit despondent or think, gosh, is the universe telling me that this is not the right thing and I shouldn't be doing it, because if it was flowing, then I would know it was right. This card says worth the wait. If something or someone not moving forwards as fast as you would like, this card is here to reassure you. Hold fast, be patient. The best things in life are worth waiting for. Take a leap. And we have this sitting next to the card of the Fool. I always chuckle when they're so aligned with one another. This card is an invitation to take a leap of faith. Sometimes, even when we desperately desire change, we procrastinate and find all kinds of reasons as to why we should stay as we are. It is completely understandable to be anxious when stepping into the unknown. This card is calling you to trust and make that move. And let go gracefully. Okay, there is something some of you guys are needing to... This is part of the crossing the T's and dotting the I's. You're needing to leave something behind in order to move forwards. This could be an internal behaviour pattern. It could be the lens through which you look at something that causes more challenging emotions. You know, our perspective is everything. If we look at something through a negative lens, we approach it with anxiety. You know, we can get into what I would call the what-if thinking. You know, people who have, you know, underlying issues with anxiety, they often get into what I would call the sort of what if this could happen, what if that might happen. It's like they're anticipating every possible situation in order to try and combat any possible disaster. But actually what they're doing within their thinking pattern is becoming quite... those sort of patterns of thinking are cyclical, because the more that we anticipate things going wrong, the more anxiety we generate. It's quite a cycle. And sometimes we really have to press the pause button on that. Again, there are exercises in the book I spoke about to help with that. Let go gracefully. Something in your life is calling for you to let it go. Let go gracefully. Whatever has taken place in the past, it is time to move forwards, and letting go will make way for the new. Whether this is a person, a situation, an outdated thought or behaviour pattern, this card comes to assure you that new horizons are waiting for you. Well, this is pretty lovely. Say yes. I'm going to say, if new opportunities come your way, we have to... If the universe opens a doorway for us, we have to actually walk through it, yeah? We are not just deciders, we are doers. Say yes. What are you waiting for? The answer to your question is yes. I do think openings and renewed clarity are coming, and I do think whatever that opening and that renewed clarity is, I think you have to leave behind some sort of chapter of your life. It will be unique and individual to you each, of course, but there is a definitive, pivotal turning point, I think, for you guys at some point in the month. That's what it feels like. For some of you, it will come sooner rather than later, but that's the energy. It's like a shift. A really significant shift. I'd also say watch out for the energy around the solstice. If you're in the southern hemisphere, that's the summer solstice. In the northern hemisphere, where I am, that's the winter solstice. You know, the 4 days around that time are a kind of a window of opportunity. It's almost like the energy of the earth pauses for breath, and we can really receive massive downloads of illumination, massive opportunities. There are often windows of opportunity that align themselves with that pivotal shift in the energy. I've written about this in the Art of Manifestation diary as part of the bit where I've spoken at the beginning of lots of things in terms of how to use the energy and how to understand how we can work with the natural cycles of universal energy, so that our manifestation is kind of at its premium, really. So pretty powerful reading, Virgo. Now I'm going to draw from the Moonology cards next. This is interesting. It says your commitment is being tested. There is this sort of energy right at the beginning of the month where it seems as though something isn't quite shifting forwards as you would like it to be. Lovely cards. Work through your fears, and a new start is coming. I'm going to say whatever isn't shifting, I kind of said this at the beginning of the reading, but whether the obstacle is internal or external, it feels like stuff is being put in your way. One way or the other, I think it's causing an emotional response, which of course is true. We get frustrated, we feel blocked, we wonder whether we're on the right track. It raises concerns, fears, anxieties. Work through them. In a way, when something surfaces, we have an opportunity to understand kind of where that's come from. Because, if we are sitting in a space where we're starting to get a little bit concerned about uncertainty, then, often we can trace that back to an earlier something. And if we can identify that and lay it to rest and kind of reground ourselves through sort of looking at life through the lens of now, it opens up avenues, it kind of shifts us energetically as well. We can see ourselves clearly, and that in turn allows us to then become not just deciders but doers. We initiate, we take action. I'm going to draw some astrology cards as well now. Yeah, lovely. Mercury retrograde, reinvention. That is exactly the energy that I'm speaking about. When things are not appearing to run smoothly. And of course, that's exactly what happens with a Mercury retrograde. But there's purpose to it. Sometimes it's bringing something up from the past that we need to look at, and sometimes it's actually just causing us to pause because we're needing to see something more clearly. We need to attend to some details so that when we move forwards, we are on a much clearer and more solid foundation. And we have the energy of Chiron. There is a healing in this as well. Very, very lovely energy. Excuse me. Virgo, I'm going to wrap up this reading. It feels to me as there is a pivotal shift in the energy around you this month, where you literally get to, it's almost like all this work you've been doing suddenly gets to this point of harvest and of recognition. And the only thing that seems to be clinging, lingering is sort of some aspect of emotional residue. So just work through that one, put it down, let go gracefully and say yes. Take that leap, because there is such a process of of movement forwards here. It's really, really magical and very, very exciting. So much love to you guys. So much love. The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary 2020. Welcome, guys. So what is this diary about? Basically, I put it together because I couldn't find what I was looking for out there in the world. I could find various other diaries, but nothing gave me all of the components that I actually wanted to literally be carrying around with me. For a long time, I have been fascinated by the way that the incoming energy and planetary influences affects us each individually, particularly in relationship to our ability to be consciously manifesting the things that we desire in the world. Now, anyone that knows me very well will know that not so long ago, my world was not particularly in a great place. I faced some huge challenges, and I really worked very, very hard at understanding how I could turn things around from the inside out. And in many ways, this diary contains a lot of the information that I had to go and search for, sort of collated in a format that I think makes it very accessible and easy to relate to and engage with in terms of your own personal journey. You will find in the diary a breakdown of the steps of manifestation as I have come to understand them and use them in my own life. You will also find information about the different phases of the moon and how to use that energy in terms of your own process of manifestation. You'll find information about the energy of the moon as she travels through the zodiac signs, and also what happens when she's in between signs and her energy isn't being channeled in any particular direction. You'll find information not just about Mercury in retrograde and how that energy affects us, but also Mars and Venus, the warrior planets, in retrograde. In the diary pages, you will find a week to view page with positions of the moon every single day. And of course, also, most importantly for me, as this is something I have been really looking for, next to the week to view, there is a page where you can actually journal and make your own personal notes and reflections. It means that this diary can become a personal record for you in your own growing ability to understand the incoming energy and use it to its absolute fullest. So guys, I am going to be giving away 10 copies of this diary in the first week of December, so please watch this space. That will, obviously, it's a subscriber offer. But guys, thank you so much for being a part of this amazing community. And do look out for the announcement of that, and also look out for the announcements the following week, because I will also be giving away further copies. There is a proper journal that goes with the diary as well, and I'll be giving away copies of those in the second week of December. So much love to you guys, so much love.